Yeah, we're back live, man. After some technical difficulties.
Jesus.
Dude, bro, you got to get a new computer, my friend.
Well, yeah, I'm working on it.
When are
Everything's
you going to
closed,
update
my
your
friend.
equipment?
I know.
Eh, Well, the
I
delivery systems aren't closed.
Whatever systems are obeyed, but yeah.
So, I mean, the conversation was getting heated. It was flowing really nicely.
So back in the thick of things,
Yeah,
hospitals full and no medicine.
yeah, hospitals are full, so what do you see? Getting back to it, I mean, what do you see is a kind of a, or what do you? Better question is, what would you like to see the steps necessary to get us out of this kind of lockdown situation,
Oh, jeez.
or what
Lockdown
do you?
is tough because I don't know if it's really working because people going out and around it anyway. And
Right,
so I don't see why like little stores cannot be open. I'm not saying maybe big shopping malls or something like that, like before. I don't
right.
think that's never gonna open. Maybe, but like something have to happen. Something, it's just either like they were saying in the beginning that we have to get everybody have to get sick and pass it on until it's just massively changed the core. Now, what are we doing? I mean, people still dying, and we're just waiting around the corner when somebody kills me. So I don't get it. So just gonna have to
Interesting enough,
face it.
all the shops are closed, but you know, the interesting thing is the flower shops are still open. Don't ask me how, but they're still open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand I didn't understand the logic of it. Is that a flower shop can be open, but somebody who sells like designer jeans can't be open, or
Right. Or Koralki.
yeah, like beads or jewelry. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Cannot be open. So I don't understand that. We were just talking about it. That poor guy doesn't make any money. There's nobody in there in any way, and now he doesn't make anything. The government takes care of it, so they give him some money, which is not enough for his rent and not
Right.
covering nothing, but it's still depleting the government packet, and it's not helping him at all. I understand that.
Yeah,
So
I don't understand what the kind of the. It's weird
it's not
because
enough
there's
money.
yeah, it's weird because there's a thing the programs that are involved are like the payroll protection, so people who are getting a steady paycheck will be guaranteed to get paid that money monthly.
Right.
But I don't understand that because, like, for example, let's say, for example, you're a factory worker, right? And you work for a factory producing whatever it is, let's say computers, right? And you're working down on the factory floor. Yeah, you're building something, but you're just a person on the floor. You're not really producing anything, right? And you're still getting a paycheck every month so that you'll be able to work in that factory. uh you get to keep your job, but those of us, or those people who are entrepreneurs and have their own small businesses, they don't get the same protections, or their livelihood is a little bit more volatile in that way. I don't.
Yeah, and they don't get that protection because they just have to do different things. So
Right.
it doesn't it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. This kind of
Yeah,
restrictions.
yeah, and it's happening the same pretty much all over the world. I mean, you
Yeah.
know these same kind of restrictions, and we're talking about people. What I'm trying to say is like the money that gets paid to somebody who's working in a factory isn't that person who's working in a factory. They are and they aren't producing anything or involving themselves in the economy as much as somebody who has a small business, who's a private business owner. They are working to they are working more into the economy more than somebody who's working in a factory in some way, right? Because
Right.
they're trying to make a living using the market for their ability. And if they don't have that protection, their business will go under. Whereas somebody who's working in a factory, the factory won't go under and they will get payroll protection. I mean,
Right.
that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not
Forming on a global form, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, these small businesses covering a lot of places.
right.
So, I mean, they say corporation, they employ millions, but it's almost equal. It's not bigger by the smaller businesses covering the rest. So,
Exactly.
no,
And they don't
they
get
figure
this
out they don't get
and
they don't get nothing.
right, they don't get the same payroll protection. They are
Hmm.
considered a small business owner, and whether they survive or not, it depends on how
Right,
well you can get through this situation.
exactly. Maybe you can
Yes,
market something enough, but without all the other small businesses, you're not getting nothing rather than that big corporation which can produce something and get it through on a global stage differently and do that. But other people can. A lot of people suffer that way.
right, exactly. Especially somebody who's a small business owner, and
Yeah.
that is their sole like livelihood.
Hmm.
Because if you're working at a factory, there's no disrespect for working in a factory, but if you're working in a factory, you can get a job working at another factory, right? But if you're I don't know, a hairstylist, for example, right? And you studied so much to be a hairstylist, and then you decided to open up a salon for yourself, and you make that your livelihood,
Exactly.
and you want to make money from that, and then you have to close down. Then what are you going to do, right? Because that was your livelihood. That you made that your life,
That's right.
rather than if you're just a worker
And you
in
still
some
have to
company.
face the same thing as the corporation, your competition, and the other thing, your customers. You have to still do the same thing like the corporation does.
Sure, exactly.
That doesn't change in any way, only on
No,
smaller case.
right, exactly. Only on a smaller scale, but
But
the
you
the
competing with everything.
yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change the fact that you still have to. It's just because there's a big corporation and you're a small business doesn't change the fact that you have to do exactly, or not exactly, but the similar things as those other companies.
And it's even harder because bigger corporation can over some of these ups easier or different
Right,
way. You don't have
right,
those. You don't have that option. So
right.
maybe they can throw more money at it. They can throw more workers at it. They can throw more production at it. They can work whatever. They can put a new thing on the market. They say, hey, you guys send me some, I need something new. What else you can do? So 10 people, 20, 50, 100 people get together and make a new product, which then a small guys, it'll take him a years before he
Sure.
can come up with something. Might be something very unique and different, but it takes time.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no comparison like something
Yeah,
like that.
it's tricky. I mean, it's really doesn't get explained. I think that's what falls through the cracks when
Mhm.
we talk about these things about lockdowns and things like that. I think
Exactly.
when you with these lockdowns, what you start to notice is how everything is interconnected. I mean, you rely on all these businesses. The society, what I notice is that society relies on all of these things, right? It relies on big companies, it relies on small businesses, it relies on medium-sized businesses, whatever that may be. But the society relies on all these different types of services and businesses in order to survive. And when you take that away, I mean, there's no, I don't know how to get out of this situation. I mean, like, let's start with something small, right? I mean, we take this for granted because we don't think about it on this type of level. But think about it when you want to get your haircut, right? You don't. It's a service where you don't get it every. You get it every. Some people get it every week. Some people every month. Doesn't really matter. Right. But it's a service that it's not really. You don't really need it, but you also need it at the same time because, like, you get your haircut. People get their haircut in everywhere around the world, and then when you don't have that service, then that person goes out of business, doesn't make any money, and people don't get haircuts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you really depend on that service, even though you don't use it all the time. And there's a lot of services like that, that are that you don't think about it on a daily basis because you automatically assume that these will be available, right? So let's say you get your haircut every 6 months, but that doesn't matter because you know that there's going to be a hair salon that's going to be available for you every 6 months, whether you go to the same place or not. And now those services are not available. So, you're not going to get your haircuts. You're not able to stimulate the economy in any way. You're not even, they say support small businesses. You're not able to do that because they're closed. And then it goes into, it's a big vicious circle. And when you go into these small details, that doesn't get talked about at the highest level of politics. They just say lockdown, 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 and they don't really talk about how to get these people back on their feet. I mean,
right, exactly. We never had something like this. I mean, you're talking about the Greatest Depression. Look at how many years that take. This is a similar situation. I mean, this is something we brought it on ourselves with this. On ourselves with the COVID is the main culprit. But anyway, it's just we brought this on ourselves because we need to do this to stay healthy, I guess. I think that's kind of like we don't know. There's no rules on this.
Yeah. It's not written in the law anywhere about anything like this.
Exactly, and people just cannot think of anything. Like they've been sitting on these things for months now, and nobody knows what to do with it. The numbers going up and down. We have models, we pushing it into computers, people looking at it, and it's going down, up, going down, and nothing. So that's. How long are we going to be looking at like this? I mean, until something major happens. What's happened when the people get sick in these meat factories and stuff like that? Let's say we don't have cars. They already know the cars factory going down. People getting sick. They don't produce cars.
Right.
So everything's going to backfire in us. Just been already easily.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a
terrible situation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions and not too many answers coming from everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's so many details that go into everything that it affects everybody in some way.
Exactly. Right? Look at how difficult it is to do something. Economy, you think economy is just like supply and demand, which is technically basically economy. But if everything's humming, people have a problem and somebody dumps the product there's too much product, somebody dumps it, somebody don't want it. Look at how difficult it is to steer it when everything is humming. Now we shut it down literally. Nothing's humming. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a long-term problem.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we were, like for example, there was this situation where we were talking about tourism, right? And there was if everything's locked down and let's say you're traveling from city to city and there's a special restaurant that you want to get to, right? But you know that everything else is locked down and you're not willing to travel, that hour and a half to get your, hamburger,
Right.
when everything else is going to be locked down. So my point is, it's kind of a equalizer, meaning that, so say you live in Los Angeles, right? For example, you live in Los Angeles and you want to go to Solvang, for example, to get, and you want to go wine tasting in Solvang, for example, right? But you're probably not willing to go to Solvang to go wine tasting anymore because, one, it's shut down, number one, but number two, everything else around it is shut down because people go to Solvang not just for wine tasting. They go and spend a couple days in a hotel, they go for wellness, they go for sightseeing, they go maybe to the lake and go jet skiing. But if all of that is shut down, then why would you go spend that hour and a half drive to Solvang to get your wine tasting in? It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not attractive anymore,
Right.
And that's the same thing, right? Well, you say, well, San Diego is better, right? But you go to San Diego and everything else there in San Diego is shut down, right?
Sure.
So it kills travel, right? You don't want to really travel, and you say, well, let's go to Vegas, right? Okay, you know how Vegas is, right? You can drink on the strip, you can party on the strip. You're in contact with people all the time. But if that's all locked down, right, you're not even going to go to Vegas. There's no point, right? So all of those places essentially become the same place, and that's what's scary, right? Because you're not going to travel anywhere because that everything else around it is shut down, right?
You're not getting anything. You're not getting any excitement, any different place, anything else. You just go there and boom, same shit. You can walk on the street. You have to sit down. You get a quarantine, man, 10 days.
Right.
So there goes your 10 days vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Say goodbye.
Yeah, it turns every place into the same place, kind of similar, right? Because everybody goes to Vegas for the weekend, Friday to Saturday, so that's 2 nights, 3 days.
The difference, yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you go to San Diego, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and everything's locked down, then all of those places become essentially the same, and then it becomes boring because there's nothing to do in any of those towns.
Yeah.
Why would you willingly go? Say you like clam chowder or fish and chips from San Francisco, but you're not going to, before you would spend that 8-hour drive, 6-hour drive, maybe get a hotel, but you're not going to do that for fish and chips. Maybe that's open, but everything else around it is closed, so you don't get that enjoyment out of it.
Right. No, that's terrible. So that's why something needs to change. But what? I don't know.
Yeah, I see very, very. I want to be optimistic about it because it will change. But right now, we're in the dark ages, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
until something drastically proves that we're getting better, that we don't get sick. I mean, this is like a worst, terrible people's nightmare. And if this was, can you imagine if they really proved that somebody created this on us? It's going to be a serious circumstances, I'm hoping. I mean, there's going to be a war as fuck if they prove it that somebody created this.
Do you think there will be a
Our
war?
government in this or somewhere this thing started,
Yeah.
and when we find out what it is, it's just gonna be a nasty stuff. I don't know. I don't want to even know about that. So that's why it's gonna be a put in the ground, and they're hoping they can sweep it under the rug, that gonna go away. But what about if doesn't? I mean, Biden already said. I mean, everybody get vaccinated towards end of the year. He's looking forward to the Christmas. It's just start of the year, and he's already saying maybe he's gonna get better next year. I mean, that's a bullshit.
Mhm.
That's not what I expect for a speedy recovery of what they're supposed to be doing. If Trump couldn't do it, what they're gonna do it? They're already sitting on 1 year, and they're blaming him that he was sitting on it for 2 months or whatever. We didn't even know what we're having, and now he's saying nobody's gonna get better until next year. At the Christmas, everybody's get vaccinated by Christmas. Fuck that.
Well, you know what's going to happen. I was gonna ask about that because, like, for example, right now in the U.S., as we know, there has been a election. Now, I don't want to get too into the details, but now the U.S. has changed presidencies from Donald Trump to Joe Biden, right? Now, I think Trump, if I remember correctly, Trump was also working to try to get a vaccine approved for people to get, to get healthier, right?
Right.
And people were criticizing Donald Trump, President Trump, ex-President Trump, or whatever you want to call him, that he was sitting on it and not proactive and not actively trying to solve the situation.
Right.
Now, if Joe Biden says that we are looking for Christmas to get vaccinated, possibly next year that the American citizens will have a chance to get vaccinated. Well, Christmas. So let's say Christmas. It's February. So that's
Yeah.
about a year away, right? That's almost a year into his presidency, if not a year into his presidency. And people are not going to start screaming about, they're going to believe the fact that President Biden is going to say, okay, we're not going to have the vaccinations now. We're probably going to have it a year from now. And people are going to accept that and be okay with that situation.
Right.
Where that doesn't make sense to me. That's not logical.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So I don't know what is going on with it. So it's ridiculous. By the
Joe
time
Biden?
you figure 2 years with this, that's way.
Well, 2 years of this is going to be 2 years of this. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's almost like it's almost a depression.
Yeah.
And
look what took us out of depression.
a war.
Yeah.
War. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because nobody can agree on anything. So
right. I think
you're only asking for something like that.
but I was thinking, has Joe Biden, did he get coronavirus? Has he had it, or did
I don't
he get
think
it?
so. I don't
Not
think
yet,
so.
right? Yeah.
I don't even know if he got vaccinated. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't.
They
I
didn't
think
say
Trump-
anything.
Did Trump get vaccinated?
No, he got sick and he used this plasma. They said they cannot vaccinate him because he got some kind of crazy treatment. You know him. He got this.
Well, he's a multi-billionaire, so he can afford something.
So they suck his blood and give him something else.
Dude.
He's bulletproof now, dude.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting plasma'd,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think you're pretty much bulletproof. I mean,
Until that goes bad.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, going back to the presidency of Joe Biden, right? Now, we're talking about we're talking about serious situation here, right? We're talking about a situation where people are getting sick, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, right? I
Right.
think this will ultimately define President Biden's situation presidency, because he just got elected, right? The U.S. has changed presidency, still in the middle of lockdowns and coronavirus. So it's not like it didn't. It's not like it's still there in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere,
Right. Sure.
right? So it's
Yeah.
not like, see, it's not like where the fantasy is that once Joe Biden got elected, that it would just magically disappear. It might magically disappear from the rhetoric, right? But it's
Right.
still there. So he's gonna be. It's almost similar to when Katrina happened in 2005, and George Bush was responsible for sending in aid to the Katrina uh,
Right.
hurricane victims, right?
Right.
Remember? And they were
Mhm.
criticizing him for not
Yeah.
sending
Sure.
aid fast enough.
Right.
So this is his Katrina, right? This is his
Sure.
chance. Okay, this is his chance to step up as a leader and really, really solve the problem,
Right.
right? And I haven't heard anything from his presidency, from himself, from his crew, his doctors, or his
Right.
what do you call it, the attorney general, about any type of plan to get America out of this mess.
Right. And nobody talking about it anymore. They just toned out the computer. So they're saying the coronavirus is 50% gone. So these little schmucks who are sitting behind the computers, they're told them to they downsize and shut it down. I mean, that's what I show. That's what I told you. I mean, that's what's gonna happen first. You know, inflation is big, so cut one of those zeros. See what this button does. Oh, it erased zero. What's about if you click it again? Okay, million, you got 200,000 now. Oh, shit. What's about if you click it again? Oh, it's $1,000 deficit now. Oh, dude, you got it.
Yeah,
You're a
man.
magician. So the same thing here. I mean, there's 5,100 people dead. What's about if you erase one zero? Whoa, it works, Joe.
Yeah, if they
So
Photoshop it, right?
it's coming down now because they fiddle with the computers. They're experts on that. So, but anything else, people still dying and doing the same thing. It's still there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's not a solution. I don't want to see that.
Right. It's just because you didn't look on Twitter for 3 days doesn't mean that the
Yeah,
coronavirus went away.
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. So he's in a big of a he's in a mess, right?
Yeah,
Joe Biden is in a mess. Okay. It's either he's either gonna solve the problem of coronavirus, which is almost impossible, I guess, but he's either gonna solve it or he's not going to get reelected. People are going to look at his presidency of whether or not he can get the U.S. out of this mess, right?
mhm,
Because first of all, right, if everything's in lockdown, the economy is already slowed down by default.
exactly.
So he has to come up with an economic plan similar to the Great Depression to get us out of this mess, which I don't think
Right,
he's got, right? Okay. Second of all, he's going to have to either, I don't know what he's going to do, because this is the problem with this coronavirus, right? Because now with the economy shut down, this is how I look at it, right? The economy is shut down everywhere around the world, but let's look at the US, right? The economy shut down, money isn't flowing as it should be, right?
right,
So how is he going to, like, for example, is he going to provide, see, this is a prime example of how something like socialism or communism can like flourish, right? Because if you're not, it's even worse, these lockdowns are even worse than the 2007 to 2009 economic crash, The reason why it's worse is because even though there was a crash in the market in 2007 up until like mid 2009, the reason why it's worse is that the economy was still open. People can travel freely, people can work, people could,
Right.
find jobs, people can travel, the tourism business was booming. Everything was still open, theoretically. You can go
That's
anywhere,
right.
right?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to steer it when it's working. It's hard to steer the big ship when it's working. And how you gonna steer it when there's a big current and nothing's working?
Right,
That's just that. It's
right,
it's you're looking very good. I mean, you can stick out the paddle. Whoa, yeah, we got it now. We got it now. We hit the bridge. Whoa, we're straight out now. But that's a wild goose. That's a wild ride.
right,
It's not. When you get it out of control like this. That's not healthy. That's not cool. It's not good at all because it gets out of whack very, very quickly
right.
when
Exactly.
something goes like this.
And now you're creating a situation where people are getting poorer and poorer, not
Yeah,
because they chose to do that, but because the business is slowing down,
yeah,
right? So, y- you know, I don't say it's a conspiracy theory to how this can, flourish, but it seems to me that now people are going to look towards the government more than ever to try to solve their problems. And that's only
yeah, of course.
natural. It's
Right,
only natural because the
right,
government is the overseer of the whole land in any
right.
country, right?
Exactly. They created the monopoly. They are the what's it called? The big business. Yeah, they business just as well. They are one of the corporations.
Sure.
So government is a corporation now, and then you get it. Now you tell me how this guy who has a winter clothes in the store right now, and it's a 20 by 20 booth, and he haven't sold anything, and now summer's coming. What is he gonna do with all this shit? What kind of help he's gonna get?
Well, he's not
No.
going to get any help because
Yeah.
when it's spring, nobody's going to buy a winter coat.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna have to store it for next winter. And
Right.
next winter more shit's coming because China's just producing crap at the ass and still coming. So but
Yeah.
that there is there you go, right? So now we have a board producer, but nobody's gonna be able to where they're gonna put it. It's collapse.
Well, speaking of China, I mean, if it's true, if the reports are true and China is open, right?
Yeah.
If it's true and they're more open and the
And
Western
they're
countries are
working.
closed,
They
I
say
mean,
they will.
how is that possible?
Hmm?
I don't understand. You know,
Yeah, I don't think they care. They just go someplace, they close everything, everybody die, and more people showed up. And
right?
we don't even know how that. Nobody knows how that works. It's a kind of a dark area. Nobody puts a stick in that.
Yeah, it's a. I
Nobody
think
knows.
it's a conversation that doesn't. I think that gets swept under the rug big time.
Yeah, that's another podcast for 4 hours, my
Yeah,
friend.
sure.
How they operate over there, nobody knows. But thing is, if it's true and they have the boats are coming by tons over here with soybeans and soy sauce and
Right.
railings and plywood and you name it, then what are we gonna do with it when nobody can buy it here? Horbach been closed for 6 months.
Yeah, I
No,
don't understand. I don't
so
understand.
all these stores are closed everywhere. The Home Depot's closed. You can't buy anything. So that's not cool.
But if it's true, right? Let's hypothetical, right? Because we can't prove anything. But let's say for hypothetical situation that China is 90 to 100% open, right? Now, you have a company, for example, like Home Depot, right? And for all those listeners out there, Home Depot is a hardware store where you can buy a whole bunch of things for home restoration. You can build homes. You can get building materials. You can get home built reconstruction materials. Anything you want with home or construction type of materials, right?
Right.
Now,
Tools.
and tools, right? Tools. You can buy
Equipment.
basically
all
anything
kinds
that
of-
has to do with constructing anything, right? It's
Exactly.
essentially a big hardware store for builders and homeowners or flat renters. Anybody can buy anything there having to do with fixing anything, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So now, if, for example, Home Depot has a contract with, I don't know, let's say they get their plywood from China, for example,
They do.
which they do. Okay. So and if Home Depot is closed, right?
Yeah.
So what happens to that contract between Home Depot and China or a Chinese company? So China's open. That Chinese wood factory creating plywood is open, and they're sending lots of plywood to the US to a company like Home Depot, but Home Depot is not able to sell it because they're closed to the normal consumer. Or are they able to sell it, but they're only able to sell it to big building corporations, like big construction corporations?
Right.
That is a question that I want to ask, because it seems like there's still construction going on around the world.
Right.
People are still building things,
Sure.
which I don't understand. I don't understand this concept. I mean, what do you think about this situation?
Well, they the thing is that again, we're forgetting all these millions of little people who make these little things, which are part of this whole wheeling and dealing machine, which wouldn't work without it. I mean, you can have some corporation who build islands in Dubai and skyscrapers and all that shit, but what does it do? I mean, how many employees they have? Thousands, 5,000. You're still talking about 7 billion people who has nothing to do. And that's the major problem for these other people. No, they can function, so nothing's gonna function. These big
Right.
businesses not gonna make it. I mean, if Bezos cannot sell books because nobody's gonna buy them, so it doesn't matter how much that book costs and how many he has. So he can just shove it up the where, and that's it.
Well, Bezos stepped down. He's no longer the CEO.
No, but he's still the richest man in the world.
Well, I mean, come on, man.
That's it. Let's give it.
Well, I mean, he's a big player, man. I don't think whether he sold Amazon or he stepped down as CEO. I mean, that guy's set for,
Yeah,
for beyond life.
exactly.
I mean, that dude can live 3 lives and still be good, man.
Yeah.
Dude, he can get reincarnated, and he'll still be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I think this COVID shit is like really, really dangerous game to be playing with for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, it's almost like in a weird way.
You should tell that to that Chinaman who said, "Whoops, close the window. Something got out." Woo.
Dude.
And bad ate it, and now everybody's got it. Okay.
I mean, come on, bro. I mean, look, dude. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, it's gonna get into like conspiracy theory shit, but I mean, if you're gonna eat bats, dude, I mean, you're gonna probably, if you eat a bat, I think you're gonna have some serious digestive issues. You're gonna have like diarrhea. You're gonna be vomiting,
Well, but
right?
but figure this: like they've been eating those things before. It's not like they just started on them.
Right.
They've been eating them before. It's on the market every day. Like you go here, get a chicken. Oh, look at the bat. He's like kind of nice black. He's looking good. So they've been eating them before. It's not new, and nobody got sick, and now they got sick.
Yeah. I mean, that's either
It's
gonna be one. That's either gonna be one big coincidence,
yeah,
or something is like going on behind the scenes.
or something else. Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's like the swine flu. Same thing. The swines didn't get sick by themselves. Somebody gave it to them.
Sure.
No.
Or
So
that
that's
mad cow disease.
yeah, exactly.
I
What
remember
they
a
do,
couple.
they just eat grass for God's sakes. They don't do
Right.
anything else.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you got a bunch of cows, like a free range cow, let's say you have, I don't know, that, like let's say you own 10 cows, right? And you let them out, you let them out into your ranch or whatever you go, and they're eating the grass on the ranch. They're on your ranch. They're not interacting with any other cows. How can
Right.
they get this mad cow disease?
Yeah. That's the thing. So same thing with this crap. I mean, it's all over the world from one bad. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's some nasty son of a bitch.
well, I mean that dude, that bat must have been fucking around, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
You know?
that's not cool.
Yeah, man. I mean,
So-
remember a couple years ago they had that Zika virus or whatever it was, that Zika virus from mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was like
Right.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
That's still around.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they didn't remember they had it, and it was during when was the Summer Olympics in Brazil? When was that? 2014 or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that they had it in
Sure.
that. Remember when Brazil held the Summer Olympics, and remember they had the pool, and remember they had that big controversy because
Right.
the pool turned
Going
green.
to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at that
Yeah,
time
exactly.
they had that Zika virus from those mosquitoes and shit.
Yeah.
They didn't close the whole world because of that.
Right.
I don't understand.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, if one bat created this shit, man, I'm gonna fuck that bat up, bro. Because
That's how serious this becomes, see?
yeah,
Because it's everywhere. It's a serious business. It's a serious problem.
sure,
You can take it lightly because it's not.
right.
It's a serious problem.
You know
But
what's interesting?
or
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know. I mean, I, they say the full hospital. I never been in the hospital yet, so I don't know. But they say the hospitals are full. They show these people. They show this. They show that on every country. So it's a big hoax. All this just one big hoax, or I don't think so. So something's happening, but what really? We really don't know.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And if this don't gonna get better after we vaccinated and the whole people in Israel vaccinated, there should be nobody dying. So we'll see what's gonna happen there, right? So some people gonna go real more proactive out of this than others. So some people go crazy about it. Some people are reluctant. Some people don't have any. I think Germans will get vaccinated if they don't have enough vaccination. So, but I think a lot of people won't get it. But then we'll see what happened after that.
Exactly. I mean,
That's what these guys saying. I mean, after you vaccinate, they say now the number's lower. After you vaccinate 30%, it should already showed up improvement. After you vaccinate 60% population, after you vaccinate 80% of population, this will be just enough. So but you're still gonna get it. It's still gonna be here, but in such a little places that uh, just like you catch now the pox, chicken pox, because people that the vaccination getting below 80% because people are idiots on getting themselves vaccinated against. So the disease still around.
Sure, I think that's kind of like one of the biggest misconceptions of like
Yeah,
just because you get vaccinated for something doesn't mean that miraculously these diseases go away,
right.
right?
Exactly. They
Like
don't.
the
They're still
I
here.
mean, look, if the coronavirus exists as it does, right? I believe it
And he
exists.
and he'll
I
stay
truly
here.
believe that it exists. I don't believe it's a hoax, right? I
Right.
believe that people get it and people are reacting to it in a different way,
Right.
or because they're not used to it. It's a new disease, right?
Right.
So I believe that it exists, right? But if you create, because it's still I mean, once it's here, it's always going to be here. So like let's say 150 years from now, there will still be coronavirus
Right.
because it's already here, right?
But
It's
then
not
in
it's not
that
going to go
case,
away.
right, but it's become rare. So try
Sure,
to catch it somewhere. You're gonna be really fighting some motherfuckers who's sick, and they're gonna be a one person. It'll be very rare,
sure,
just like other diseases are now rare. So if
sure.
you like, we have other disease, we don't know how to catch it. But, they say like 300 people on the earth has it. Well, that's not even that's not it's not that's very little, but it's
Right,
still here. And if you catch it, oh, sorry, Akko, you going.
right.
But it's not gonna be this massive amount of people who disappearing.
No, because you're right, exactly. Because the science and the doctors will be able to neutralize it in such a way
Yeah,
that it's going to be like
we'll,
one in what 5 million who
exactly.
get it, or
We'll be able to
yeah,
control it that way.
sure.
So
But it still doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
right, no, of course.
I
But
wonder, you know, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, but what
No,
when we get into this level, that's the thing. When how long it's
sure.
gonna take? If this
I was
vaccine working, we don't even know if it's working. Actually,
sure
I mean, uh,
because they don't release that information whether the
right? We don't have
vaccines
enough
are working.
people actually proving it. How many people they got tested? They got tested minimum people and says, okay, working, it's fine. But
Sure.
well, for this amount of time, we have very, very little. They
There's
test
not a
you
lot of
twice. Yeah, they test you twice and they give you vaccination. Okay, you have a COVID, now you don't have it. Now you have it. We'll give you another thing and you don't have it. And how long you don't have it? How long? When is the time you catch it back again? Nobody knows these things. We
right.
just playing it by ear because we need to get something out for these people because they massively just disappearing. That's not cool. So we need to give them something, right? We don't need a whole book, like you said. We don't need a Bible. Just give me something. So that's
Right,
what
exactly.
this first vaccine, that could be just a hope syrup. Who knows what it is?
Yeah, it's almost like if they're just putting something, together just to get something out there.
Yeah. We have enough medicine here. Come on. They can mix up something real quick. Like you
Sure.
said, drink a little bit of, floor cleaner and it'll help you too. So we have so much shit, so much chemicals. They can mix something together, but is it really the, we don't know.
Yeah.
Time will have to prove that.
Just to get off topic a little bit, but do you think that coronavirus exists on Mars?
Mm, that I don't know. That's the sucker just supposed. If it's not there, it's there probably now, dude.
Yeah, do you think like
But I
like
don't know if that can survive there. We don't know that. I don't know. We don't
like
have that information about that.
well, what happens if, like, for example, I was just thinking about that. I mean, Elon Musk wants to send those people to Mars, right?
Right.
Okay, so
The lunar thing just landing today at 9 p.m. our time.
really on
Yeah,
Mars?
on Mars. It's gonna be televised 9
What is
p.m.
it? What's landing on Mars?
Yeah, under chat.
The rover, or
Oh, no connection.
yeah, I can hear you. So I mean, because like, if they want to send astronauts to Mars, the first pioneers to land on Mars I'm wondering if the people who get there are, if they're going to be infected with coronavirus, or they can catch coronavirus, or what's going to happen with those people who get to Mars. That's I've always wondered that.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing you for a little bit. So
So I was just thinking, what well, first of all, what
I have to cut, so
yeah what
that's all. So.
yeah so what's landing on Mars for the listeners?
I don't get.
So like the rover lander is landing on Mars, or
If the bacteria can survive there, we don't know that.
yeah
Yeah, that's completely different environment. Like I'm saying, more shit's being loaded up there. Who knows what they bringing?
Well, I was just thinking, if they're launching stuff to Mars, right, and they're gonna, like Elon Musk was talking about those, like canopies that will open up automatically, right?
Right.
So I was thinking, if those things, are they getting sent up contaminated, or are those things getting sent up like decontaminated, or?
Well, supposedly that should be decontaminated, whatever that means.
Right.
I mean, it's still gonna have an oxygen on them. We're standing there moving oxygen. What that oxygen has is a different oxygen than other planet oxygens. I don't know. That's all. Who knows?
Dude, that would suck, man. You're the first person to step on Mars with some other dude or some other woman, and you guys catch coronavirus. That would be so bad, dude. I mean, that would suck if you went there and got coronavirus on Mars, man. Or like if you were like, or you spent 6 months in the spaceship, and by the time you got to Mars, you contracted some kind of disease, that would be so bad, dude. Oh, so we lost our guest for the moment. If the guest gets back on, we shall see. I think his connection dropped. So let's see. So let me see what's gonna happen. Check. Yeah. So I mean, that would be bad, man. If you're like the pioneers for going up to Mars, you land on Mars, and then you get like coronavirus. That would be so bad, dude. That would be bad. But I don't know. I didn't see any of the news that was of what was landing from Elon Musk. But I mean, I think he's a pioneer about all this stuff going to Mars and yeah. So I was saying, man, if you welcome back to the show. I was saying, man, if you were like one of those first pioneers to get to Mars, and you get to Mars and you get coronavirus, man, that would suck.
I know. I mean, that's I was saying too, that we're saying like, we only think that we are the smartest guys and the whole universe. I was just saying, I mean, is the chemistry same chemistry like it is chemistry over there? How do we know? We have no way of proving. We're just thinking, we're doing our shit. So we take this and it says, oh, this is cobalt. Oh, yeah. This is copper. Oh, yeah. This is oxygen. Yeah. And what's about the guy with the long ears goes up there? No, this is Hancho Winter. Fuckers.
Yeah,
You
I mean
know,
that's one of my biggest questions. I
how
mean,
do we
is
know that this is comparable with everything else out there?
yeah,
We don't know.
that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if that's one of my biggest questions is if we were able to get to Mars, right?
They're getting there
And
today.
sure, okay, what is landing today?
2100 hours, my friend.
And what is landing? The rover? A rover or a
Well, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of machine.
yeah?
Yeah. Hmm.
I heard that it takes
But
about
that's,
6 months to get to Mars.
yeah, exactly. Or even
Yeah,
longer. I'm not sure. Yeah.
sure.
So, yeah, something's landing today. Like on the parachute, big old machine, parachute down and boom, boom. I think it's gonna do some shit, drilling and
Uh-huh.
killing and shooting and, you know,
Nice. Yeah. Mm,
cannon.
clearing out all the aliens before we get there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Bringing all the good stuff from the earth, the
but
best
if there's
stuff.
do those things rust?
Well, yeah, but it's like what we know is a different atmosphere up there. So none
I
of those,
know.
they could. Who knows what's kind of reaction? Mostly they have problem with the batteries. They run out of the battery, don't last that long.
I know because there's nothing to charge them.
Yeah, only sun power, but you know,
Right, but okay, so if they run out of batteries, do those machines rust? Do those robots rust
no,
or
no, I don't think so. No, I mean there could be some kind of different decay, but not that.
so it's like the desert. So Mars is like a desert then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. There could be some kind of storm. There could be some other chemical storms. That's what I'm saying. I mean, everything rust and decay in some way if you give it a different, unique situations. Yeah. It's like rust. I mean, like if
Well, I
it's
mean,
some chemicals react and makes it. You know what I mean? It's not just we don't know what's going on up there. I mean,
what
they
happens
think they
if
know all of that, but
sure. I wondered. I was wondering if you got like sick on Mars, for example. Would like, for example, if like a hypothetical situation again, right? Let's say you go up there and you're on Mars. You're able to survive whatever the fuck is Mars, and you have a kid,
right.
and now that to me, if you have a kid on Mars, that would be the first alien. To be honest, that kid would be
Okay.
an alien because that kid is not from Earth. That kid would be a Martian because that child is born on Mars.
Yeah,
That would be the first generation of a person not born on Earth.
right.
Now, and if that kid got sick, would that mean that like uh if a person got chickenpox on Earth, so that was a disease that was created on Earth, does Mars have its own diseases that if you were growing up on Mars or living on Mars, you would get like Mars diseases, or would you still carry diseases from Earth?
That's a good question because I don't think we can live there and walk just like we do here on the earth. You will have to live under some kind of bubble and filtrate the earth, make the air to breathe for us. And then that would probably kill us because you will have to circulate the same air and we will kill ourselves with our own diseases. That's what I think could happen because you can walk under Mars just like that. You have to make oxygen and you breathe it.
Right.
Not like, so we cannot really breathe anything they have up there. We can function there. We will have to make oxygen and suitable things to, we'll have to have a plants, or we can take all that. That's what Elon's saying. We can take soil. That's why these rockets have to be massive and have to be a lot of them. They have to be reusable. He wants to haul everything up there from here.
Sure.
No, so what are you creating there? I have no idea. I mean, you just bring all that shit over there. They'll kill us in under those one of those and build some kind of bubble. I mean, that's
It-
very dangerous situation to me.
It almost
Yeah.
seems like you would have to send a bunch of robots up there to kind of terraform Mars
Right.
first,
Probably.
to kind of
That's a good
build all.
question. We have to. Somebody should take Joe and tell him that, and then so he can ask him these questions, because he didn't really ask him anything about that. How he's thinking that this thing's gonna continue. That would be a good question for him. What is he think how to build it?
Yeah, it would be a good question for Elon, because Joe usually
Yeah.
tries to get Elon Musk to like smoke weed, and
I know he's loading up with too much whiskey last time again.
yeah, I mean
I
he
think
always
he
gives
was
him
falling. He was falling asleep for a while.
Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's going there to relax, It's like, oh,
I
I sit
know.
with Joe for 3 hours. I don't know what else to do. These fuckers.
Just
I can
drink
think of
whiskey.
I can think of something else. I think he goes there to relax his brain. He said, I'm thinking constantly 24 hours.
Yeah, and then he goes on Joe Rogan, smokes a couple
Yeah.
doobies and a couple of Jack whiskeys, and he's
Yeah, exactly. And
which
he
is
has some
cool.
good shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double barrel,
Oh, double barrel, double malt,
Yeah, exactly. 25 years old at least.
Dude, but I don't blame him, man, if he's always thinking about this stuff. Just go and relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I not either what I'm saying. It's a good question for him to ask him how he thinks. But he already said you have to have a lot of those. Those rackets have to be massive,
sure.
and you hold everything up there.
Well,
to prepare
he's
this
doing those.
stuff.
Yeah, he's doing those testings with those reusable rockets. That's what you
Yeah.
need.
Exactly.
You need something like that.
Because you won't be able to build them fast enough. And he said they have to be reused, and they have to be reused fast.
Right.
So it have to be one or three on the stage, and these guys just clean it, fill it up, and boom, next.
Right. It has to. It almost has to be like a car.
Yeah, they have to be just one after another, just one going, and you'll be a constant movement. So every 6 months, so after you have 600,000 rockets up there will be like one every hour landing, just like LA airport.
Right.
So once you get that moving, you can get a lot of stuff up there.
Well, if it takes 6 months to get to Mars, he's probably not just Elon Musk, but we would have to. That's too long.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So
like, you have
remember
to,
what.
You have to get it up and going, so the racket is there every day at least.
Right, exactly. It was like, remember when, like, back in the day, they had that Pony Express. They sent a mail from Washington D.C. to California. It took 3 months.
Exactly.
Well, that's way too long. So
that's if the horse wasn't hungry.
Right, exactly. Right, that was minimum 3. Yeah, that was minimum 6 months. Right,
yeah, sure.
3 months. So there has to be a technology that has to be created that to make that 6 months condensed into 24 hours somehow.
Right. Yeah.
Because we can fly around the world in 24 hours. Right? You could fly from LAX to Dubai to Australia in 1 day. And they're completely on opposite sides of the planet. So to get to Mars, you would have to do something similar. If not even faster, you would have to be able to fly from wherever he's got his company, Cape Canaveral, Florida, to Mars in 16 hours. That's what you got to do.
Right.
And
I think it's possible. I mean, there's plenty land over there. There's plenty land over here. You just have to keep shooting them.
Right.
They'll be landing over there. I mean, every 8 hours, rockets landing, no problem. You just take people. But I don't know who's gonna be taking all that stuff out. I mean, you will have to have a good look at like Dubai's airport or something, most of those busiest airports. I mean, there's a massive amount of people and trucks hauling that. It's just people which they're moving themselves out of there. Now you have here just packages which are not moving themselves. Something have to move it.
Right.
So, I mean, you need infrastructure for too. I mean, I can imagine that all the robots can build all this without any kind of human interaction from somewhere else. Because even the signal, let's say we move the robot from here, but we give him signal today and he responds tomorrow. So, oh, okay.
Right.
So that's not gonna happen. It have to be, I don't know. That's all in futuristic kind of thing.
It would have to be almost instantaneously for any of this to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look, if we were able to connect from, via internet somewhere instantly, it would have to be something
Yeah,
similar.
right.
There's no way. There's no way you'd have to get around that. I don't know what that technology would be or what it would look like, but you would have to make these time frames quicker.
For sure.
This 6 months delay on everything is too slow. You would have to make, you'd have to make it just like, okay, maybe in the beginning it's slow, right? Just like it was.
Right, exactly.
That post was maybe this is the time period where we are the slowest, right?
Sure. Yeah,
we
of course.
we are the first generations that are making that
Happen.
happen. And maybe 150 years from now they go off of that technology, but they already know
Sure.
that now we can make it even faster.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. No, I don't doubt that. But all that shit have to happen.
Right.
Otherwise, I think that's what we know, and we don't know. And as it goes, 500 years now, different technologies are different. It'll be different thing. Maybe
Yeah,
those
sure.
rackets will be much bigger, or who knows how fast they can go too. So far, we cannot go any faster. If we go speed of light or anything different than what we're doing now, I mean, they're moving fast over there, but it's still not fast enough.
Sure.
So, like you said, if their communication become faster, because it's not just next door, that this tremendous amount of mileage between here and there,
Exactly.
which nobody. I mean, it's just hard to imagine how that he has those that. I can just. He was just. I have a little notes here. He was saying like we have now those little satellites, right?
Right.
And they're moving 25,000 times, 25 times speed of sound.
Mhm.
So they're moving pretty fast, those satellites around the Earth, those that Starlink, for the internet.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of them up there. So they will be able to cover the whole Earth from remote places because it's going to be a beam coming down to wherever you need to be. That's what he's doing now. So it's like, boom, man.
I mean, here's a question that I've always wondered, right? Is it possible to travel faster than light?
Mhm.
And if so, then that would also have to be part of the equation to get to other places. Like they say the nearest star is like I don't know how far, but it's like 6 light years away. So that's 6 billion miles away or even more, right?
Yeah.
And they say it will take at least 200 years to 300 years to get there if you're traveling at some kind of speed.
Right.
Right. Well, I mean
That's
you will never
unacceptable.
get there.
Yeah, exactly. Forget about it. Why people even think about it? If they don't
Sure.
think about speeding this thing up,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
even with
you would
light of
it,
speed,
but even if you were traveling at the speed of light, you wouldn't even get there.
yeah,
So you would have to travel faster than the speed of light.
the speed of light is pretty fast actually,
Sh-
but
That's
you know,
true.
it's pretty fast. It could tremendously decrease the flying time.
Hmm.
But even if it's something better, that would probably even better. But can we sustain anything like that? I mean, you get 5Gs and you're going to hell. I mean, your mouth is gonna melt, and so how can we even do it? That's the thing.
I
But
think you would have to create something like Star Trek, like, like beam me up, Scotty, like teleportation, where you
yeah,
just click
exactly.
and you can say, boom, I want to go to the nearest star and you'll be
Yeah,
there.
I
Or,
know. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it sounds far fetched, but it's probably going to happen, right?
Yeah,
Something's going to
sure,
happen.
probably. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I
that's
mean,
something's going to happen. I mean, it
yeah,
goes into that question, like, are we alone in the universe? As far as I know, we are alone,
yeah,
right?
because nobody's coming here, nobody coming out. You cannot
Right, exactly.
get anywhere.
It's almost like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? Nobody's coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
But somebody's
if the
doing it.
farthest look, if the farthest, if it's true and it's the farthest that we've ever traveled is to the moon with humans, right? And that's 4 days away, then humans haven't traveled very far outside of Earth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's based on our technology,
That's not
whatever
fun.
we have
It's like
or don't.
frontier. It's like frontier Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to moon
It,
is like
it's
going to frontier Earth.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to the backyard, right, or the front yard. It's not very far. So we haven't traveled
No,
that
exactly.
far into space to know what's going on. So I don't know if aliens do exist, right, and they are coming here, like we claim they are coming here. They would have to have the technology that, one, they're able to travel faster than light. Two, they would have to be able to survive that speed. Three,
Right?
they're coming into a completely new atmosphere than what they're used to. They would have to be able to survive our atmosphere. Their spaceships would have to be able to survive any kind of atmosphere, whether there is an atmosphere or not an atmosphere. They would have to survive all of that. They would have to have all of their technology. And
Right.
if they have that, right, then we are very primitive. Then humans are very
Exactly.
primitive.
Sure.
We don't have that capability. If we can't even look, if we go out onto the, if it's true, if the science says that if we walk on the moon and we take off our helmets, we will get sucked into the vacuum of space and we will be decapitated instantly, then we are very primitive. We won't be able to survive anything.
Right.
So we would have to be like fluid. We can't have this body as we are now to survive
Mhm.
anywhere, right?
Right. Pretty much. Yeah.
And we
Maybe
would
you're gonna be like a dry hot dog flying up there.
maybe, but you would have to be able to survive that, right? Maybe you are
You'd
beef
be
jerky.
like a prune, and yeah, you're gonna be like a prune, and when you get up there, they pump you back in.
Well, you would have to be able to survive that, man.
I know.
And
Well, listen,
here's another.
man, my
Yeah,
dogs are going on, so
yeah. Yeah, you're. Oh, they're about to
conversation.
start, man. Yeah. So
Yeah,
hey, man.
exactly.
So I
So
mean, there's like lots of questions, man, but I know you're busy, and
yeah,
thanks for coming on the
podcast we can
show.
do. So
Yeah.
okay, and
So
we'll get something together again.
yeah, when's the next time we can do this? It's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
So whenever you're available, maybe we can do it tomorrow again if you're available.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Okie dokie, man. So thanks for coming on the
Okay,
show. Thanks for
awesome.
listening. Yeah, awesome. Take care. Let's catch you next time, everybody. Thanks for listening. Join us.
Sure.
Get on to the First Division podcast. Check us out. And we'll catch you on the next one, man. Thanks for coming on. Peace.